my 4th grade class. Today in science, we're going to learn about producers and consumers. And the way that we're going to learn that is a fun, exciting hand gestures. But before we get started, I'm going to go over our I can statements. I can are objectives for science. So our science one is I can describe the flow of energy through food webs. Okay? The way I want us to remember that is like food, we put food to our mouth. So we're going to do food, and because webs go clockwise, we're going to say food, web. Just like that. Can you do it with me? Food, web. Awesome. Fantastic job. For our writing objective, we're going to say, I can use my new vocabulary by creating and labeling my own food web. That's what we're going to do today here in just a minute. Our last I can statement is speaking, and I can use my new vocabulary words in our class discussion. So we're going to be able to talk about our new fun vocabulary words that we've learned today. So this is our fun chart. Can anyone tell me what this chart is? It's our IBM chart. Very good. Now, with our IBM chart, we're able to use this in our writing. So the first thing we have is our I, our introduction. So introduction. Next we have our body, the body of our story, the body. And our last one, the C, is conclusion. Conclusion. We're closing it off. We're finishing the story, so we're done. Conclusion. So you see right here is my giant body. And this is what we call our food web. Okay? So first off, what we're going to do is we are going to do our intro. And if you'll give me 1 second. First off, we're going to label our body. Can anyone tell me what the sun is? Can anyone tell me what the sun is? Well, the sun is our top because it's our flow of energy. That's what everything begins. Because of the sun, everything grows. Flow of energy. Begins with the sun. So without our sun, this whole our food web would not be able to exist. Our little bed of grass. Can anybody tell me what that is? That is our producer. And producers are organisms that make their own food. So see, by the sun, the grass is able to make its own food so it can grow. Next, we have our consumer. And our consumer is an organism that eats. Other organisms. Now these can be either plants or animals. So that means either an animal can eat a plant or an animal can eat an animal. So our mountain lion can eat our deer, and that still means that they are also consumers. Okay, so finally, and we'll say this is grass, this is a deer, this is our mountain lion, and finally our decomposer. Our decomposer is an organism that gets its energy by feeding on dead material and waste. Can anybody tell me what would be in this ground that could be a decomposer that eats other material and waste? That's right! A worm! A worm is in the ground, and when animals die and they decompose into the ground, the worms eat on them and they help get the ground ready so the sun can help grow more grass. And so it's the circle of life. So let's go back, now that we know kind of what our body's about, let's go back to our intro. And our intro is the food web. Let me get up here. The food web helps. There we go. Can y'all see that? Okay, the food web helps us see the circle of life. There we go. So see, the circle of life is being shown by the food web. So our conclusion would be we'll say the food web shows how the life cycle works. Okay? So, now that we understand our new vocabulary of producer, consumer, decomposer, and the flow of energy, tomorrow we're going to come back to our food web and we're going to look at something different. We're going to see what will happen if we take our producer away from our food web. I want you to think about that as we close today for our lesson.